Hello. Today I thought I'd talk a little bit about one part of the Tara practice that I appreciate a lot. And this is that the symbolism, and in particular that she symbolizes enlightened activity. And I was thinking, like, we do actions all the time, but we aren't always so enlightened in our activity. And what would the qualities be of someone who is able to do that, and how do we develop those? So I think this is one way that having a spiritual relationship with Tara can kind of enrich our lives, actually. And as Venerable Chodron explains, that if we can see Tara as an emanation of all the qualities that we want to develop, then we can develop admiration for those and work to develop those qualities. And for me, the appearance of Tara is actually quite helpful in this regard. Some aspects in particular, I spoke about this once, but not in this way exactly. And so in the sadhana I'm using, there's a verse or some excerpts that say, her right hand is in the gesture of supreme giving, fulfilling the wishes of all beings. Her left hand, as tender as young ivy leaves, is at her heart in the gesture of the three jewels. So her left hand is like this, and her right hand is out like this. And then she's always present to liberate all living beings, but is never affected by the defects and shortcomings of cyclic existence. And to symbolize this, each of the hands holds blue upala flowers. So that's the basic meaning of her holding those beautiful flowers. And then to symbolize the union of method and wisdom, the sadhana says, she sits with her right leg slightly extended and her left leg bent. So the position of the lower extremities is what represents the union of method and wisdom. And that's something that a Buddha can do. And bodhisattvas work on it. So then in the book Tara the Liberator, this is explained, these aspects. There's much more than this, but this particular part is enough for one day. And so the right hand being in the gesture, one way it's described as granting sublime realizations. So they're showing us the path to full awakening so that we can actually generate that path. It's also called the gesture of generosity, which is really denotes Tara's willingness to give the main things: material possessions, love, protection, and the Dharma. And then the left hand in the gesture of the three jewels, these represent the three jewels, these three fingers that are up. And these two fingers being together in this circle represents the unity of compassionate bliss and wisdom. And so the idea there is that by entrusting ourselves, by taking refuge, by making that be how we direct our life, take a safe direction in life, we will follow these teachings, and then we will be able to actualize what we're seeing in Tara. Her right foot being outstretched indicates her readiness to help all the suffering beings. And her left leg tucked in means that she has full control over her subtle energies, her subtle inner energies. She doesn't become unbalanced, and so she doesn't lose her equanimity. That would be pretty amazing. So that's kind of talking about them individually, but then they do the sides of the body. So the right hand and the right foot are both extended outward, and this is emphasizing compassionate activity, so the method aspect of the path. And the left hand and foot are closer to her, and that indicates the stability of Tara's mind, a kind of inner peace. And this is gained through the wisdom aspect of the path. So her body language then is actually showing us something about her realizations, her inner realizations, and also her outer activities. For my level of practice, I use this in the world in my own way. I can't say I'm doing what she's doing because I don't have the realizations, but I still find her posture helpful. And this is where I kind of do it in this order. And I was thinking the reason for this is that it was very helpful for me to be taught I mean, I always kind of had this spring into action kind of energy, but Tara is quick and fearless, but she's also wise and enlightened. So that's quite a difference there. But, you know, if you tend to just kind of, there's a problem, let's go fix it kind of mentality, Tara, it might be for you because the way I use it is this, is the left foot being in reminds me I need to get my mind stable, you know, because that's what it represents, stability of mind. So I need to take the time when something, you know, if I'm going to have this feeling of springing into action or just doing anything that's major, of keeping the mind balanced and equanimous, start there, especially when big problems come up, especially with things that you feel like, you know, I really can't do anything, and you might start to feel helpless. Well, actually, you're never helpless. When difficult situations arise, you can work on keeping your mind equanimous so that then you will be ready to help when the conditions change. And that's been a huge help for me personally. With the left foot in and the mind, you know, take time to make your mind more stable, then go to refuge. Rely on the teachings, rely on the three jewels. Don't rely on some of your habits, maybe. Or maybe I have actually learned some things very specifically that now that I'm older and hopefully more mature and have more teachings on Buddhism, that I would reject things that I was actually taught that I don't think are really the way to handle things. For instance, when we were working with our first contractor here, I remember getting upset with him. There was a difficulty arising. I don't know, but what I remember is pulling me back. She wouldn't even let me go to the meeting. He was like, cut out the hook and like, whoop, you're out of there. Because I was kind of used to like, oh, when you're upset about something, well, just go kind of hammer it out and, you know, be done with it. And she was like, I didn't really grok what's the deal here? And that was like a long time ago, but now I'm really clear on what the deal is here. And when I can do that, I reel myself in. It isn't all the time, but I'd say most of the time. That was something I think I was taught, to be assertive. But that isn't being assertive, actually. That's being angry. There's a difference. That's why they have assertiveness training. You can't just think, oh, I'm going to be assertive and just go and do whatever you want. There's a way to be skillful with being assertive. So I needed a little refinement in that regard. And so that's relying on the teachings and the three jewels for, you know, how to guide myself. And then with the right hand, you know, generosity, well, for me, I think I have to work with my mind to really be generous in a way that is Buddhist, I would say even, you know, like to take delight in giving and to get rid of self-concern, which is ever so present, so that, you know, to think about giving without any sense of loss, that's a tall order for me. And so to reduce the self-centeredness and even the sense of self sometimes can be very helpful in that. So I think, you know, just doing this in a Buddhist context with looking at Tara, it's not going to be like, oh, I feel like being generous today, I'm going to like toss some things here and there. No, when you look at Tara, it's like, you know, this is an enlightened being, and this is the perfection of generosity, and it's going to be a higher level. So that's good to take some time with. And then with the right foot, you know, for Tara, springing into action, quick and fearless. Well, at my level, it would be more like, okay, you've kind of gone through your steps here, 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to think about being active. Are you ready? You know, are you there yet? I mean, for Tara, it's quick because she is fearless, because she's enlightened and she doesn't have things in her way. But for myself, I need to, you know, kind of make sure sometimes that my mind and heart are in the right place. I mean, I could do that a lot more than I do, I would say. But those other steps I have maybe a little more familiarity with. And I think that's, for me, a really good way to work with this image. You know, it takes the imagery as it's taught, and then I apply it to my own mind.